Hello, everybody. Welcome to EsportsEDU. This is our Rocket League edition. I have some two great people with us. We got Lane and Joey. If you guys want to introduce yourselves, feel free to.
For sure. Well, as you said, my name's Elaine. I'm the president for DePaul Rocket League, and I'm also the organization's community manager.
And I'm Joey. I'm a player for JV, and I'm also the head coach of the academy team here.
Now that's pretty cool if you ask me. Some pretty cool people. But in this episode, you've seen some of them before. We're going to go through some of the logistical standpoints of the Rocket League team, some organizational stuff, just kind of get you all a little more informed on what the program has to offer. So let's just start it out with you two telling us a little bit of what the organization, what it's all about.
For sure. So at DePaul Rocket League, we have a very strong emphasis on community building and peer-to-peer evaluations. So primarily, we work as a team to problem solve whatever issues we have in game or even outside of like our scrim matches. We both focus on casual and competitive play, but overall, we're here just to establish connections and get anyone the resources that they need.
So, as far as like being able to get the resources people need and being able to support them, what does that structure of all of that kind of look like? Since I know you mentioned Lane, you're the president, and Joey being a coach, how does that dynamic kind of work?
Would you like to take this, Joey?
Sure. So basically, it involves um a lot of communication between the parties. So like if we have an event, Lane is usually the one to set things up and reach out to teams for tournament matches or scrim matches or anything like that. And then, my role as a coach and then also as a player is to make sure my teammates are aware of what's going on um, and as well as my players and making sure that everybody's kind of in the know and just, starts with that base level of communication.
Now that sounds pretty cool, not gonna lie. I've noticed though, especially with Rocket League at least, the communication between the team and outside of it is probably one of the strongest in our org. Can you guys kind of tell me how you got to get to that point? Because personally for me, things have been very easy just being able to get things done and helping push for, different things such as getting funding, setting up events, things like that.
So for the most part, the main thing we've been focusing on is retention. So this isn't an issue just with DePaul Rocket League, but just esports in general, where people can feel intimidated like joining like a club because they've already been established for a while. But at DePaul Rocket League, we've only been around for like 3, 4 years, so we're always really open to uh like when people join, we're very quick to be like, "Oh, who are you? What are you looking for?" and in the org, and what can we do to really establish that you're getting whatever, like if for example, if it's through Rocket League, like getting like that, getting one-on-one evaluations from coaches or from peers, and then if you're in the more casual sense, like we also have like community nights where we will play like not even Rocket League, honestly. Like we'll play like, so one time we played Valorant. We do like party games, Jackbox. So anything that keeps like people coming back is usually what we will focus on.
That's interesting you bring it up since I've definitely noticed. I mean, I can see it as well since I'm around from time to time. But how are you able to establish that difference between that competitiveness and casualness you have in the community?
Definitely the main thing is just being direct with up and coming uh students or community members in general. So some people would start off like completely casual. Like I remember there was this one player, I don't want to expose him, but he as soon as he joined, he was like, "Why did you let me on the team?" Which was a really weird question because like he wasn't bad at the game at all. Like I don't know. He just like felt very shy about wanting to join the org, but if you show interest, we will find a place. So with our academy team, for example, like we mainly use that to have people get to know each other on the org. So we have recently like already moved up people on academy to JV purely because it's like they've showed commitment to the org. So we want to show them that we're willing to give them those resources. We aren't gonna like be bogus and be like, sorry, you put so much time into us, we're not gonna give anything back. But yeah, and now we have like just recently just like a bunch of new academy players. We like sorry, to go back to your question of specifically how we separate them is like for community nights, we'll have more casual in-house games. We won't really like nitpick. Well, we won't nitpick at all. We're gonna judge you for like having fun. But then we have practice nights, which is more focused on like not only can how can you improve individually, but how can you improve with your team building and your communication.
That's really interesting. And I guess to help out those who don't have too much of a background with the team, what exactly are the differences between each team level? Since you mentioned there's an academy team, but and also JV, but how does it look like between the different teams you have?
You want to take
Um,
this, Joe?
yeah, sure. So basically our you know, you can look at it as different levels, but we more kind of focus on the competitiveness, I guess, of our teams. Our varsity team competes the most. They play anywhere from 20 to 30 hours um, a week, usually. Maybe not that much, but they certainly are very focused on grinding and getting better as a team and as individuals. And they play in the most tournaments, the highest level tournaments, and so forth. Our JV team is very committed as well. I would say a lot of our JV players play almost as much as the varsity guys, but we don't compete in as many tournaments or as high level. Sometimes we compete at the same time, but generally speaking, it is a varsity and junior varsity thing. And then our academy team is for up and coming players or players who might not feel comfortable in like a competitive sense. Um, and but as Lane said, we want to give them the resources to improve as players and to feel like they're welcome in a community of gamers and other Rocket League enjoyers. So, we want to just make sure that like it's good for us as like a president and a coach. Like we have a good feel of where people should be, or if someone asks if they're on academy and they want to maybe move up, then if we feel comfortable, then and they want to commit, then sure. But it's each level has its own level of commitment, as Lane already said. So that's kind of it's not only like skill, it's also time and commitment that does separate our teams there.
That's interesting you bring up how it kind of everyone's separated, but at the same time you're all together. There's definitely a very unique dynamic that exists within the Rocket League community and more specifically within DePaul Rocket League. So I want to know a little bit. Obviously I know a little bit about the players, but I'm sure the rest of the community and anyone else who may be watching would like to know kind of a little bit about the players because with those different levels, obviously there are different team dynamics within JV, varsity, academy, but what does that look like between, things like community nights and then when it gets to actual competing and practices?
For sure. In terms of dynamics, and okay. So in the competitive aspect, one thing that I think is interesting is the dynamic of our varsity team. So for the most part, we have like three consistent players for our varsity team that like will show up for every game, every scrim. Um, and that is sorry, Spencer, Sam, and David. Sam, he's the like freestyler of the group. He's very mechanical. He goes for those one-on-one plays. He isn't afraid to like go for like flashy shots. We have Spencer. He's like, as he says, he's the shooter. He like he he either like is very quick to go like counter like defense like the counter for off defense to offense. He'll like shoot it across the map. He'll see someone mid. He'll go for the mid plays. He reads the backboard like it's nothing. And then there's David. David is the glue that holds Sam and Spencer together.
David is
They,
the silent killer.
yes, he is like the most consistent and the most like reliable teammate. And just having all three of them together, like David specifically, like just balances both Sam and Spencer's play styles out, and he makes it so like we're not overcommitting or like making silly plays. But I'm very happy with our varsity team right now. We recently, I mean, Joey was actually playing. He was subbing for Sam at the Vincentian Cup, my bad.
It's all right.
And then we also recently won the Open for NASTAR League, which I'm very proud because I
Woo!
was supposed to sub, but then I was like, oh, I can't do it, and then we had to like rummage around and get Sam like, come back, you have to come back so you can play. Um, but yeah,
You know, that's really cool hearing because, with my involvement with the org, especially where I am now with it, I don't get to see a lot of the insider stuff. So it's really cool being able to hear those, very unique dynamics and how everyone kind of functions together. And, I guess from here I kind of want to turn to a little bit different topics, more so on the community and organization stuff. So obviously you guys meet online. I mean, that's what we're doing right now. We're in a Discord call, but what are ways that the community has been able to meet and gather in this like really weird climate we're in of like this virtual and in-person world?
Well, it's definitely been easier, I think, for us than a lot of other I'll just say school organizations. Like, for us, what we do is already online, so it makes it really easy just to all hop in a Discord call, and we're already like, we're already on our computers to play the game, so it's not like we really have to make a huge effort to all wear masks, and obviously if we're in person we would, but we haven't been for a while now, so that's good. And uh, the transition definitely felt weird a couple years ago, but I think it's worked out really nicely actually with getting more people to feel comfortable in terms of coming to virtual practice instead of like having to go downtown at night. And so it's actually been pretty beneficial to us, I think, in some ways.
yeah, I we did in person for the most part last quarter, just because that was like everyone was really excited just to go in person because of like school coming back in person as well. And for the most part, we made it optional, like online or in person. But this quarter, for the most part, we've been staying online just because the only times we could have really had practice were like at night, and I personally like didn't feel comfortable if it was only like two or three people in person to have to go home alone at night and have to take the L. Especially because like the gaming center is downtown of all places, so like not to say that the DePaul campus isn't safe. I've never had like a bad experience at the DePaul campus, but it is downtown at night, so people always have to be cautious like on public transportation and stuff. So that's why for the most part we've been committing to staying online.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like, common sense of being in a big city, once I hit a certain time, it's just like being careful. So I completely understand that one. But I agree, yeah, DePaul is pretty safe. I've had no issues. I'm stupid at times, but, so far it's been pretty good.
For
Uh,
sure.
But I guess while we're on that topic of people being able to meet together, I want to hear some of your guys' highlights from either this past year, however long you've been with the org. I know, Lane, you've been here for like 2 years, Joey, three, I think. But what are some highlights
It
that
feels like
you've
me.
had?
Lane, you want to go ahead?
Sure. Community-based highlights. Let me think. Ooh, I remember this was actually when you were still around, Jeremy.
Hmm.
On some nights when we would have practice, we would finish early and start doing like different Rocket League like workshop maps. And we would do it, I mean, it was kind of like a golf course, but it was also like, oh, like team not team deathmatch. What am I thinking? I'm
It was
overcomplicating this.
team mini golf. Those were some of
Yeah.
the best nights. We had like 12 people in the call, and we just all like screaming and yelling. So
That just
that was
unlocked a whole part of my memory I kind of forgot of.
yeah.
That's
And
funny.
that was like early quarantine. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, back in
Um,
the good old days, you know?
yeah.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
Another I mean, I guess this is a more broad thing or a highlight, but I mean, when I like personally when I joined the Power Rocket League, it was like very like niche. It was very like just a group of friends who came together and just wanted to play Rocket League and they wanted to get funding for it, so they started like a club or whatever. But since a lot of like the I like to call it like the first generation of Rocket League players have left and new people have started joining, it has definitely felt a lot more inclusive. Like like before it was like divided like you're either GC or you're plat, but you play on the same team and you get what you get. But now that there's like a lot more people and there's like a wider range of teams, we're actually I've I don't I will say it. I will say it. We're going to be expanding like our JV team so that we'll have like more than just like one roster. Um, so it just I'm very happy with the direction that the Paul Rocket League is going. Um, in terms of like just the amount of people who are like staying in the org, but people who are also committing time. And that's something that I'm really happy about because it's like we're we're not just like a group of friends who meet, we're also like a community.
That's a really cool way to put it. I've never really thought about it like that. And I think part of it honestly has to do with the pandemic and the way people's mindsets have changed and the way people react to things have changed. And esports has become a much more prominent activity and really understood by a lot more people. So, do you think the way the pandemic has kind of gone has a factor to how this change in the org has gone?
I think so. I think that putting everything online, both, I mean, I'm sure it was like kind of a shock to like like meet people that like I'm sure Joey can speak on this because he was in the org when it was in person before the pandemic. But I joined like right as COVID started because I actually graduated high school like during 2020. So like I was a freshman coming into the org and there was COVID and everything. And for me, it actually felt a lot easier to like join and just like get on Discord and just like meet everyone versus like being like a nervous freshman, like, oh, I have to meet people in real life. Oh my gosh.
It definitely was a little I was nervous my first practice because I just hit like champion 2 the first time and it was like all these super high level smart people were like telling me that I was bad. Not really, but like yeah, but it's definitely been I think it's really shown that it's been more welcoming because we've gotten like a crazy amount of new people, especially this year. It's been great. I think like since I joined, we probably had like I've had a lot of people leave because of graduating, but I think we've had like 10, 12 total people join since I've joined like 2 years ago. So that, you know, that's a lot of people for a 3v3 game. So
Well, I noticed even on my time on the team, we had the 5 people for JV or 6 or whatever, and then 3 for varsity. And now it's like the fact that you guys have room to possibly add on a fourth team now is kind of wild. That just like that's such exponential growth, and it really shows how the impact esports has been having just with colleges, specifically DePaul, and you can see it with colleges all around the nation. So I think that that's pretty neat.
For sure.
yeah.
But I guess while we're getting closer to wrapping it up, one of the main things is, obviously we're talking here. They see the kid, Germ, you got Lane, you got Joey. Actually, I can't point. That Lane, Joey, boom. But what are some ways that you guys can, or people can get involved with the Rocket League community?
So right now, our we're still kind of figuring out our scheduling a little bit in terms of community night and stuff, but we are planning on having community nights on Tuesdays. How often that is, we're not totally sure yet. It depends on availability and stuff like that. So there's still a few details to be worked out, but for the most part, we still plan on having community nights on Tuesdays. Um, and that, like Lane mentioned before, it's something where it's not just Rocket League. It can be Valorant or what's that game you guys play? The Mario Party game. I've never played
Oh,
that.
Pummel
Oh, Pummel
Oh,
Party.
Party.
Yeah.
Pummel
Yeah, you guys
Party.
played that all the time. Yeah, so it's not like it really shouldn't be thought of as like a Rocket League community night. It's just a bunch of people who happen to play Rocket League just hanging out and chilling for a little bit. So
That sounds pretty good. But if you want to check them out, you can always join our Discord server, discord.gg/DePaul Esports. Within there, we have a bunch of links to our different Discord servers. Rocket League Discord is in there, so make sure you check that out. But before we end it off, do you two have anything else you'd like to share?
Well, if you're hesitant about joining DePaul Rocket League, don't be. Like, we're always looking for new people, and if it makes you feel any better, um, our lowest ranked player is still in gold, and he is definitely one of the more like attentive players on the team, and he learns very quickly, and we will find a place for you. Like, there's nothing like no one is bad in Rocket League. Well,
we're all
everyone
bad.
is bad.
We're
Yeah, we're
all
all
bad.
bad in Rocket League. So please don't be scared. Like, either DM me if you're interested, even in just community nights, or if you're interested in finding a team. Like, I got you. I will. If you're in bronze, I will find bronze teammates for you. Don't you worry. We will do this.
Well, I definitely agree with Lane. I think all of the esports communities, especially Rocket League, if you want to do it, just do it 100%. And the worst that can happen is you find out you don't enjoy the game. So if you enjoy the game, you may as well just kind of see, is there a place in the community? Is there a place competitively for you? And just kind of go with the flow and see what happens. But if you want to stay connected with us, obviously you got Twitter, DePaul Esports, Instagram, Facebook, DePaul Esports, our email, esports@depaul.edu, our website, esports.depaul.edu, changing it up there. Then, of course, we got Twitch and Discord. So thank you two for coming on tonight. Thank you for tuning in for Esports EDU, and we hope to see you all around sometime. Thanks.